Do you know what's upsetting, Steven?
This happens every week.
I didn't want to say. Yeah, no, I know, but I was like, I don't want to start the show with like
something negative,
so complaining about something. But this is a legitimate thing that I might as well complain about.
Here we go. Yep.
I went to the bank, right? I needed to take out money. $5,000.
See, the positive thing is that you have $5,000 in that bank account.
That is true. Positive. $5,000 cash. So I write myself a check to cash from the business. I go to the bank down the street. I get on my scooter, put on my helmet, scoot down there. Yeah, I'm giving you all the details, Steven. I'm painting a picture because this is the internet.
You guys see the B-roll that we're showing right now on the screen?
Yeah. It's for their mind. In their minds. They can hear see the podcast in their mind. So I go into the bank. I give them the check. They start processing it. They know me by now, thankfully, because I don't have a debit card. I refuse to do debit cards because when they get compromised, you're screwed, and the bank takes forever to do anything. I don't do debit cards.
See, I have a debit card, but I only keep like $100 on there at all times.
Yeah.
It's like a burner card pretty much.
Well, I hear you.
Yeah.
That's I get it, but I don't need it. I'd rather just charge stuff because I pay it all off anyway.
Sure.
So I go into the bank. I got my check. They go through the whole process, and then she's like, "Well, this is a $5,000 check. We don't have enough cash for that."
Wait, what?
I'm like, "How do you not have enough cash for $5,000? That you're
They're a bank. That's the sole purpose of a bank is to have money."
They're like, "Well, we're one of the smaller branches. If you want the other branch that you have to drive to,
yeah, but
which I didn't want to go to right then and there." Would have enough money.
It's $5,000 though. I mean, not saying it's not a lot of money, but it's not 50 grand or 100 grand or something like that. I mean, there's plenty of times that I had to take out, a couple $1,000s to pay some contractors on site or something like that. Like when I got my fence in.
He means hookers. He really means hookers. What he means is he has to pay his hookers in cash.
But it was cheaper paying cash versus credit, so I took out cash and it was a couple $1,000s. I mean, how could you not take out $5,000?
What did the hooker cost if you pay her cash if you pay them cash? I can't surmise that it's a woman every time when you say hooker.
$2,000 instead of $3,000.
That's a big savings, Steven. What did you get for $2,000? That's a very expensive hooker. Anyway, so I sit there and I'm like, "You're a bank." And they're like, "Well, we're a smaller branch. We have another branch you could go to." And I'm like, "I don't want to go to that branch. I chose to come here." They're like, "Well, we had a lot of withdrawals today on a Friday." And I'm like, "It's $5,000. How do you not have sitting in the back, in the vault, $25,000, $50,000 in cash?"
Well, unless, like they said, they had a lot of withdrawals and they had 50,000 starting off the day, and now they only have 1,000.
Yeah, but she's like, "You're going to need to order that from here." And I'm like, no, that's absurd. Give me my damn check back.
I mean, you would think there'd be some kind of transfer midday if they were running low on cash, right? Like from another branch or something.
You would just think they have an idea of how much cash they go through, and it's a Friday. So saying that we had a lot of withdrawals today is like, well, it's a Friday before a holiday, so there might be some cash withdrawals coming in. And also, who's filling the ATM machine? Because that's where most of the people get money.
Yep.
I don't have an ATM card, so I don't go to the ATM machine because I don't do that. So anyway, I got my $5,000 the next day at the other bank.
And the ATM typically has a daily limit, so I doubt you'll be able to get $5,000 out of an ATM.
And one thing, if I was asking for like 25 cash, I'm not asking for 25 cash. What do you think I am? What do you think the Canon money truck was backing up?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I could see if you were asking for a substantial amount, but $5,000 is, I mean, again, I'm not downplaying. That's not a lot of money, but
he's downplaying it. Doorbell, hold on. Steven, it was an overnight package.
Ooh, that usually means it's something good.
Should I open it right now?
Yeah, because everyone can see it.
Yeah. You know who it's from?
Canon.
It's from Canon. Canon USA. Hold on.
The only reason I know that is because the tape literally says CUSA. Canon USA.
Can you hear all that? Yeah.
All that listen paper. To that Foley.
And it feels so light
this
to me right now.
This is all inserted sound effects, people.
What's in here?
Just kidding.
What's this, Steven? What's on this box?
Oh, let me guess. An R8.
No. This is an R50.
Oh, it's an R50. Okay.
And
the other one's an R8.
Yeah, no wonder why the box feels so light. I'm like, are you sure you guys actually sent me what you were supposed... Oh, there's a lens in this box?
Because those cameras are like less than a pound.
Shitty insane. 24 to 50 kit lens. But hey, this is good news, Steven. What?
That is a good thing that Canon, they really hook us up when it comes to getting the cameras after the launch. It's like a week after, where some other manufacturers, it's a couple months.
Well, it's been a couple of weeks, but the good news is I think we're the first. I was told we're like the first. I got a bunch of shoots lined up, Steven.
Did you request to be the first?
No, I just wanted to get the damn camera for the weekend. And so because we have a good rapport with the people
Michael
over at
Rappaport?
Canon, being that we have a good rapport with them, they were able to get it to us because I'm like, look, I'm shooting some lacrosse, women's lacrosse, which I hope is certainly better than men's lacrosse, because anybody out there who's ever seen a lacrosse match or played lacrosse knows that it's a bullshit sport where everybody just yells at each other. And I think it's a sport of who can be in the biggest asshole and say the dumbest thing to each other, because all they do is rag on each other. And I look at it as a very privileged sport for wealthy-ish kids in the suburbia, and all they want to do is like hit each other with sticks and then say, look at your face. I saw this happening. I won't say what school, but they were like, I was taking photos and there was this team manager or someone on the sideline just ragging on every single player that went up the field and ragged on this kid's face. And look at, it's one thing to do a jab here and there. This kid didn't shut up. I turned to him. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, you're on the sideline, not even playing. You can talk shit when you play, but if you're standing on the sideline and you have nothing to do other than stand there with your tight ass fucking khakis, with your fine badunkadunk, shut the fuck up. He's like, who are you? I'm like, it doesn't matter who I am. You're being a little piece of shit.
I mean, I agree, but it's also high school sports. They live in their...
No, this was college.
Or college, early college,
I wouldn't say
sure.
anything to a high school kid. I'd say something to a college kid.
Still.
Like, it's just a terrible fucking sport. Anyway, welcome to RAWtalk episode 39.
What about field hockey? How do you feel about field hockey?
I love field hockey. Those girls are awesome.
So you consider field hockey more of a sport than lacrosse?
I didn't say I consider it a sport. I said the people that play lacrosse are a bunch of little bitches because all they do is talk shit, and it's just a dumb, disrespectful sport. It's like, no, the way that they act, it's a sport because it's a great running. There's skill involved with throwing, passing, shooting, scoring, saving, all that bullshit. If you would just take out the bullshit back and forth talk that these people do, I can't believe coaches allow them. If you ever did this stuff and a football coach was around, they would pound your face into the ground for being so disrespectful to the other team.
That is
you
true.
Treat them as you want to be treated. You don't do this shit. It's just fuck them. Fuck them. I'm pissed off at them. Anyway, so the R8 came in the mail.
Welcome to the Positive Podcast, everybody.
Yeah, if you look for positivity, we are the positive podcast on the internet. So we've got...
I am. You are not.
So I've got the... what do I got? I got
R50 and the R8.
No, I got that, but I was just thinking about what I'm photographing. I've got the lacrosse game. It's women's lacrosse, so I'm assuming that the women don't act like the men and are a little more civil in this case, unlike in hockey where women are not very civil and the men are, but that's a whole different story. Sunday, my buddy, and by buddy, a guy I met when I was at NASA, by the name of Cheese. His name's Cheese. He goes by Cheese.
Old school, everybody, if you don't know the reference.
He's on... the Harlem Globetrotters, and he's like, hey, we'll be in Philly. You want to come out to a game? And I was like, yeah, I want to shoot. He's like, oh, I was just going to give you tickets. I'm like, no, I don't want to watch you guys play. I want to shoot photos. So I went to their website and submitted for a media credential, and they approved me for tonight, which I must have clicked the wrong thing because I think they're at the Leocore Center at Temple, but I got painting class tonight.
I hate the Leocore Center too.
Yeah, but they play at the Wells Fargo Center twice on Sunday.
Much rather shoot that, yeah.
I'm going to go there on Sunday. At least that's the plan. I'm going to email them to make sure that they're like, you're approved for tonight. So I was approved for the Harlem Globetrotters. Now, that's a good thing, guys. If you want to get and shoot some things, just email the Harlem Globetrotters or any of these people, because I don't think they get a lot of coverage, and that's good publicity for them.
Well, speaking of little coverage, like I don't really understand how a Harlem Globetrotters game even like works, or how, what do? They travel just around and do their thing and boop. Yeah, I've just never been to an actual game.
You never been to a Harlem Globetrotter game? So the Harlem Globetrotters were started back in a time where the NBA was not that good of a sport, right? The league wasn't very good. The Harlem Globetrotters were put together by a Jewish guy. A Jewish guy who, no, really, this guy, there's a whole podcast on the Harlem Globetrotters and the history and story behind it, which is pretty awesome. So he basically had some of the best ball players in the country, and they would take on playing some of the best college teams in the country, because that was a showcase, and sometimes they would win and sometimes they would lose, but there was multiple different traveling bands of basketball players before the NBA was big and college was the thing. And then they would ride around in like some Studebaker, some massive car. They would all get out of the car, like Meadowlark Lemon and all these other people. I don't remember any of the names, but they were some of the greatest athletes at the time, making a good amount of money when they started to take off. Obviously not at the beginning, but what they would do is they would globetrot. They'd go around the country and they would play the Generals. They came up with a team where they would play the Generals, and the Generals would always lose. Occasionally they would win, but they would just put on a show. And it was about, at first it was about putting on a show and being a good basketball team. Now it's about putting on a show and doing trick shots and juking and jiving.
That's what
and
I mean.
It's entertainment.
It's simply a show now, right? It's not really like a game.
No, it's a game.
Is it a
but
game?
It's
Okay.
entertainment.
Okay,
Yeah, they
gotcha.
still play the Generals, but the Generals are meant to be, let me just put it this way, the white guys mostly, and the other team, the Harlem Globetrotters, generally don't have the white guys. They have the better athletes that run circles around the white guys. That was not stereotypical at all. But if you could get McCluggan, the guy that the Sixers just picked up, he could be on the Harlem Globetrotters because he's got ups.
There you go.
He's got ups like a truck.
What was that
thighs
movie?
Like what?
White Men Can't Jump or something like that?
So White Men Can't Jump is actually
that
being
Woody Harrelson?
remade. Yes, and Wesley Snipes, always bet on black.
Classic.
It's a new version is coming out.
Really?
Yeah, with Jack Harlow playing the white guy this time.
Huh. Isn't he like a rapper?
He's a YouTube turned rapper.
Oh.
You know, he got big. And
But
then,
he's an actor too?
He's a basketball player, but everybody's an actor, Steven. But yeah, let me look
Including
this
yourself,
up.
right? You're a great actor, Jared.
I've
You
been in
are
movies.
Incredible.
White Men Can't Jump. Let me see. White Man Can't Jump, Wikipedia, that's the original. White Man Can't Jump, 1992. White Man Can't Jump, 2023.
If you're looking for a movie that has some fresh Jordans, check out that movie.
You've got Lance Reddick, Laura Harrier, Sinqua Walls. I mean, I know Sinqua Walls. Never heard of Sinqua Walls. I don't even.
Sinqua Walls, yeah.
And Jack Harlow plays that. Why can't I just read what this movie is about? Where's the synopsis? We need to talk about this. Storyline. A remake of the 1992 film about a pair of basketball hustlers who team up to earn extra cash. Thanks, guys. That was a very good explanation of what the movie is about. Basically, there's a white guy, there's a black guy, and they play, they're hustlers. So like the Pool Sharks back in the day. Anyway, so yeah, White Man Can't Jump is coming. Oh,
By the way, real quick, have you seen the trailer for the Tetris movie on Apple Plus?
Oh, so I don't need to. I've already watched the documentaries on Tetris, how it was made. There's some of those awesome.
Yeah, but this is like a full-length feature film movie.
No, I know it's awesome.
It looks pretty cool. Yeah.
No, I know the story. The story is freaking awesome.
I feel like you would really enjoy it.
I know this. I've listened to the podcasts about how Tetris came about. I've listened to. I've watched the different documentaries that the game historians. There's probably I think it's Game Historian on YouTube put together the Tetris thing. I mean, the story of Tetris is pretty amazing. How Nintendo was able to basically they needed a launch title to include with Nintendo
For Game Boy, right?
No, for that may have been for the Game Boy. Yeah, I think they needed a Game Boy launch title.
I think it was for Game Boy, yeah.
And so they were able to get the rights for it, but the guy who made Tetris didn't make any money because it was communism and he worked for the government. It's a whole different thing, but Tetris is amazing.
And I didn't realize that Tetris came from tetra and tennis combined, the word.
No, I didn't know
that
either.
From math and tennis combined. Yeah, it's really interesting.
I still didn't know that.
Because they're all 4 blocks and yeah, it's all math.
Huh. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I've got these things to photograph. The lacrosse, I'm going to use the R8 for that. Harlem Globetrotters, there's like 2 games on Sunday, so maybe
that'd be really cool to shoot. Yeah,
maybe I like vlog some of it because I have an afro, and I think they're going to make me a part of the show. And they'd be like, "Hey, look at this white guy with an afro. Let's see
you're
if
on the Generals. You're not coming on our team.
Let's get him some shorts and a jersey and see what he's capable of. He's Jewish. He's got an afro.
Do you play basketball at all?
Terribly. When I was young,
I was going to say, I'm terrible at it too. I'm terrible at pretty much all
I didn't have a
sports.
very good jump shot.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't hit a shot. I mean, occasionally I would put one in, put a bucket in, but I was very short for a Jewish white guy. White guys don't jump. White men don't jump. Jewish people don't jump very well.
Yeah.
Been very few Jewish people in the NBA. Dolph Shays was one, and Danny Shays. You don't know them, but Dolph Shays was in Levittown when my dad was growing up, and Danny Shays was an NBAer also. He babysat my dad. It was a whole Levittown connection thing. Anyway.
So funny how your mind works.
Well, one thing leads
Jewish
to another
players,
thing.
Doc Shays, Levittown, my dad.
Yeah, well, Steven, that's
It's
how my
like
brain...
trigger. It goes all over the place.
That's what it's like in my brain.
Nah, it's funny.
So I'm looking for. We got these cameras in. I'm looking forward to shooting with them. And now when I go to Paris in a month, I will be. I'm not sure if I'm going to vlog with the R8 or if I'm going to vlog with the R50. I don't know if they sent me extra batteries, but I will have to take like a charger with me to make sure that I'm charging up one or the other. Because now that I guess I have two technically, if I have two cameras. So,
I would go R8 all day.
Well, I have to see what lens. I would end up putting the 14 to 35 on it for vlogging.
I shot video with that during the Real World preview for 2 days, and I only ran through two batteries. So it wasn't terrible on battery life, but lack of IBIS is a little upsetting, but it's not the end of the world.
That's a $1,500 lens. I really wish there was something wider and a little bit better.
You just get the crazy vignetting at 14.
Ooh, good. They replied to me, the Harlem Globetrotters. I get... They're like, what time would you like to come to the game?
Like, join the team.
They're like, we saw your video. You would be perfect to play on the Globetrotters. Can you shoot? You
on
got
the Generals.
Buckets?
You're white.
No, you're white. What's your number, Fro? And that's it. FRO on the back of the jersey. Do.
That's all I remember. Just like the animations of like the Globetrotters.
Oh, see,
like Scooby-Doo or something.
I remember my dad took us to see the Harlem Globetrotters. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
That is cool.
Moving on. I look, Steven, I know we're long into the show, but I didn't expect the doorbell to ring and to be Postman Fro with a package for me.
Postman Fro, yeah.
So I'm excited to get that. But I also got another camera in the mail the other day, and this is photography related because it's a camera. I went on the long lost search for my original D3S that I sold about 10 years ago.
Yes.
About 10 years ago. I remember because that was the camera that I launched my website with and started making videos with. So I'm going to make this cool video about the search for my original camera, and I'm going to find it, like the serial number. I'm going to see if it's on a used website, and I'm going to see if it's on eBay, and then find this whole story. So I don't remember who I sold it to. So I went back into the Google, and I had an old email from 2012, 11, something like that. And I'm like, did I sell you my camera? And the person replied back, they're like, yes, you did. You sold me your D3S. I'm like, do you still have it? They're like, I do still have it. I barely use it.
Wow.
I'm like, well, I would like to get it back. Can I trade you? Like, if you still want a D3S, I'll go get one and I'll replace my D3S with this D3S. And the guy was like, I'm not sure if I want to sell it.
Really?
I was like, what? It was like, and
like, I could see if you didn't want to sell it because it has sentimental value of some sort, but not really for him. You know, it's a secondhand camera.
But I could also and I told you this. I'm like, if the guy says no, it's not like the end of the world for me. Sure. I'm not going to get upset. I already sold it because you don't get sentimental.
His camera anyway at this point.
Right.
So,
and you don't get sentimental about this stuff because I sold it for a reason. So I could get a D4 back at the time because you said this camera was like $5,200 when we looked it up.
Yep.
And so I had to sell it. So to roll it back into the other camera. So anyway, it went back and forth. It went silent for a while. I came up with another idea. I'm like, look, I'll give you a D3S. Is there something else you want? I'm like, you know what? I got a Z6. I'm going to give you a Z6. I will trade you a Z6 for that D3S. And that did it right there. So
interesting.
I gave him a Z6 original, updated firmware with a F to Z adapter. I put in there an XQD card and a card reader because I'm like, well, might as well. I'm not going to use the XQD cards and a card reader. That's good for the guy. So I got it back, and man, it's in beautiful shape. And the sound of that shutter from that D3S is fantastic.
Clunk, clunk, clunk.
That camera is awesome. And so battery is still great. It's only on 1 of 4.
How's the 2-inch screen?
It's a no. That one has at least a 2.5-inch screen. I was talking the other day. I think. I was holding the D2X. That had a small screen.
Okay, so the D3S, I guess they finally, or D3 they upgraded.
I think the D3S has a 3-inch screen. I went to touch it.
Oh, okay.
Well, doesn't it?
It's not touchscreen or vari-angle?
No. Nikon D3S. I don't remember what the screen was. Wow, still $1,000 used at B&H. Adorama has one for $600. KEH has one for $509.
I could see $600, but $1,000, that's a lot for a camera from 2009.
eBay, Nikon D3S, shutters perfectly, 2 charged batteries, $495. Like I say, you could buy these cameras. You can get D2Hs and D2Xs for $99, man. Like $199. That's like I say, you could always buy these old cameras back. I think the D3S is still a fantastic camera. We're making a video about that camera.
Yep.
And so I already wrote the script. We already filmed it before I got the camera back, because at the time when I wrote the script, the guy wasn't going to send it back to me and trade, but he ended up trading it, and he's looking forward to seeing the video.
And the tough part about that video, it's more of like a nostalgic take on the D3S. Not going to reveal exactly what it's all about, but we don't have a lot of like B-roll of you using the camera for obvious reasons, because you were usually behind or usually the camera was filming you for most of the videos and Fronos photo stuff, or you're simply like talking about specs of the camera and stuff like that. There's not many photo shoots that we have of you using the D3S. It's more the D4 and on. So it's tough to find B-roll for that type of video. I will say though, I looked online trying to scour the internet for any type of D3S content, and I did find the original press release. I found the original manual. I did find a ripped product video, like a promotional video of the D3S with like 3D rendering and images and stuff that some Nikon fanboy uploaded. So that's going to be really cool to maybe use in the video. But I think now the plan is to maybe use that D3S and get some like sexy B-roll of the camera and stuff like that. And we'll figure it out. But that's the only hard part about making some of these scripted videos where you talk about older cameras or content and stuff that was prior to my time at Fronos Photo.
And then we have to decide, do I write a short script for it that's like 125 or 130 words, and then basically just have Steven do really sexy B-roll of it, talk about, just basically give the specs, because the title we have for it is a pretty good title. So it's just a matter of, do we make that into a short and a reel, and is it worth doing? Maybe. We'll see.
What memory card did that take? Compact flash?
Yeah, it's 2 compact flash cards.
2 CF cards. Okay, wow.
He sent them back, by the way. He's like, do you want them back? I think
Were
we have
they your
64
cards?
gig. They were my cards, what I sent him originally, I think. But I'm like, yeah, what do you need that for anymore? So I also have to find my compact flash card readers again.
I've got like 30 compact flash cards at this point, just sitting around collecting dust. I mean,
I still have my 1 gigabyte one, my first one from back in the day. I always talk about that.
that's cool to keep, yeah.
But this is, it's nice to, look, it's cool. That's the camera that launched Fronos Photo, and I got it back. So speaking of cameras,
and again, real quick, that's why I think it holds a lot of sentimental value for you, is because that is the one camera that launched the channel and started this career of Fronos Photo.
The exact camera, too.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Like the camera.
Exactly.
That's
the
really
point.
Clean.
Yeah.
The guy kept it really clean.
Even better.
Barely didn't
Probably
use
cleaner than you.
He really didn't use it. Well, actually, I used it. Speaking of cameras, we were at Alan's Camera the other day, Steven and I, for something.
Yep.
And I saw that they had an F3, a Nikon F3 sitting off to the side. And I'm like, what are you doing? F3? I don't own I've never had an F3. And that's like the quintessential amazing SLR camera for that generation.
Is that like
Came
the
out in
D3's version of the SLR version?
Well, yes, you want like the fully manual camera, except it does have aperture priority. I think it was the first one to add aperture priority for them in 1980.
Okay.
But it also has the power winder. And I asked, how many shots a second do you get with the power winder? And I think it was 3 frames a second with the power winder,
So fast.
which is pretty good because in the day you had to wind it, click, wind it, click, wind it, click to get 3 shots. Here you would go click, click, click. No, it's slower than that. It's click, click, click. That's 1 second.
Wow.
No, that's yeah. Get your timer out. I want to see. Get your timer out, Steven. Let's see if I can get 3 frames in 1 second. You got it?
Wait for it.
Yeah.
And ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
Click, click, click.
It was like 1.5 seconds.
Oh shit! Let's do it again. This is a fun game. Everybody play at home right now.
Ready?
Yeah.
On go. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Click, click, click. Boom! Did it.
No, do it on go. Like as I say, go, click.
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Click, click, click.
All right. If you did it that way, it's about a second.
Steven, did you see I was like pressing my finger on the shutter? And I just made a new song because I went click, click, boom. I just came up with a song. Just call me Saliva, Josie Scott. Click, click, boom.
Click,
That's
click,
a deep
boom,
pull.
the reprise.
That's a deep pull. Hey, Steven,
What?
roll that wonderful plug music real fast. That's right, guys. This RAWtalk is brought to you by the Fronos Photo presets.
Ooh.
Steven has made a lot of them. Guys, close your eyes right now. I want to show you my favorite preset. It's called Skittles. Close your eyes. You see it? Do you see Skittles working on your photos? This is Eckert. How good does Eckert look right now? Mount Airy? Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, we've got a bunch of different presets. As you know, there's 3 Fro Packs up. Go to froknowsphoto.com/FroPack3. You can get Fro Pack 3 for the price. It's currently on sale, and people are like, Jared, it's always on sale. Well, it's always on sale until Fro Pack 4 comes out.
It will not be on sale, yes.
Will be coming out at some point.
I've got
we'll
about
have Fro Pack 4.
7 done so far.
That's not enough.
No, it's not enough.
Not
That's
enough,
why it's
Steven.
not out yet.
It needs to be done.
And I will say, you always promote Skittles as your favorite personal preset. I personally like Fifth Element, Gotham. From a lot of the Fro Pack 3 presets are my favorite. Fifth Element, Fro Pack 3. Obviously, Eckert was named after me because it was one of my personal favorites. There's a lot of really solid presets that we don't showcase very often, but if you do go to the website, you can check them out with the before and after sliders. And I do think there's some really, really cool, unique modern day presets.
Yeah, and the fact that it literally, if you buy the triple play bundle and save even more and get Fro Pack 1, 2, and 3, it comes out to like $2 a preset. So
a lot less expensive than the competition, I will say. There's a lot of expensive presets out there. That's
because I don't think they sell a lot of them. I don't know. We just felt like it was the right thing to do. We felt it was the right price. And it's like, guys, when you think about it, and it's $2 a freaking preset, even if you just use one of them and it saves you an hour, it's more than paid for itself. Stop that music, Steven. Play that rollout music. Anyway, go to Froknows Photo. Wait, don't play that music. froknowsphoto.com/FroPack3. You can do it. And that is the plug. Okay, now that that's out of the way, I did get the F3. I thought I owned an F2, but it turns out I own 2 Fs, which is basically an F1.
Did they have an F2 there?
No, he doesn't. But I have the Nikonis V, the Nikonis 5, the underwater camera that I got there the last time we were in. Huh. And I also have an F4 that I bought on eBay, which has kind of like a broken... It works. That was the first autofocus one, but it kind of has a broken... inside the viewfinder, when you look through at the bottom, it's like the screen's screwed up a little bit. Huh. But I also have my original F5. I never sold my original F5, and I still have that.
Is that the one that's on the scripted set, right?
Yeah, and the one next to it on the scripted set is the Nikon F with a really cool high point viewfinder. So what happened to you at Allen's?
So we were filming a video there, like you said, and I was fine in the beginning of the day. Towards the end of the drive there to get there, which is a good 30 minutes away or so from the factory, I just started feeling weak and tired and weird and just off in general. And I didn't want to blow the shoot because there was a lot that went into this specific shoot. We'll get into it later when the video is actually released. So I just pushed through. I tried to do as much as I could. And in the meantime, I'm like dying inside, and it was bad. It was rough. By the end of the shoot, I could barely just function. I needed to go home ASAP. So on the way home, there's a 30-minute car ride, bumpy on the highway, and I'm just like dying internally. And I get home because I had to leave work early. I'm like, I can't go out to lunch with you guys. I have to peace out, Jared. And I rarely leave early. It's very rare when I'm even sick. Because for me, unless I'm bedridden, I don't really consider myself sick. But at that point, I really had to go home. And it was not the warmest day out there. And I remember driving home and I had to put down all my windows, put the air conditioning on. I was burning up inside. I get home and I take my temperature and I was at 100.3. So I tried to nap. I went to bed and woke up just sweating like crazy. And I took my temperature again. And I was 101.5 I got to. And then by the end of the night...
Why wasn't it 104.5, Steven?
Good radio station that I used to work at. And then by the time I went to bed at night, it was 102 degrees. I went all the way up to that. So, I'm sitting there freezing cold under the blanket, but at the same time that I'm getting really hot. I took a bunch of fever reducers, and then I finally woke up in the middle of the night and just broke my fever in a pool of sweat and was pretty much fine the next day. But it was bad. And at first I thought it was COVID, but I tested twice, negative both times. I couldn't watch TV or even look at my phone while I was sick. Thankfully, it only lasted about half a day, but it was rough. I think for me, my body has to go through this transitional phase of the seasons every time. When it's
You're transitioning.
Exactly. Especially from winter to spring, when it's a real flux in temperatures, when it goes from 30 to 70 the next day, just like today, for example, my body really feels it. And it has to adjust, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. It's every time this year, I always get real sick for one day.
So what I think that people really want to know, Steven, is did you die?
I did not die. I am here. I'm alive, thankfully.
You're not AI?
But the hardest thing for me was to push through that shoot, but I do think it was very important for us to get that done. And I do question, like, what do people do when they get sick during a photo shoot or a video shoot or whatever? Do you try and push through? With COVID these days, I know the most important thing is to try and just get home and get away from people. But at the same time, when you have a lot on the line, do you just try and push through it? For me, I knew there was a lot on the line for us that day, and I'm like, I just have to I'll try and keep my distance a little bit, but because who knows? Was it COVID? Was it not? Because the last time I felt like this, which was last March, almost a year ago exactly, that's when I had COVID. I had to leave work early because I just felt off, and by the next day I was dying. But that lasted 3 or 4 days. That was rough.
But you didn't die.
No, I didn't. Thankfully, the next day I woke up and I was pretty much fine. I had a weird lingering headache, groggy and foggy and everything. But I could still edit and look at the screen, but I did have to take breaks every once in a while. And today I'm pretty much good to go. So thankfully
welcome back.
I'm here. Yes.
Awesome.
But we all get sick and shit happens.
Let's move on to some big photo news here this week.
Yes.
We've got Meta verified. First, Mark Zuckerberg took to his another thing that they stole from another company, which is some kind of communication tab. Something in Instagram that we don't have access to yet, which basically allows you to send direct messages. They call it broadcast channel. Literally, it's you sending a personal message to an entire broadcast channel. So people who sign up, like if I had the Fronos Photo broadcast channel, it would be my way of saying, hey guys, I just posted a video, go check it out. It's a direct message, but it's not two-way. They can't reply back.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that the same as posting like a story from your channel on Facebook?
Yeah, but here they're making sure that it finds a way into someone's inbox. So which means they're probably going to start selling broadcast reach.
That's super annoying.
Probably. Well, yeah, but so you could choose not to. So Zuckerberg was all excited to announce, guys, I'm really excited to Meta verified. This is going to be so great. We're going to start allowing you to get a verified check mark by paying either a $12 a month if you do it on the computer or $14 a month if you do it on iOS, which is confusing to me. I think the reason they do that is because Apple takes 30% on iOS, so maybe you pay more, but is there a difference between signing up on the desktop and signing up on do I get the same stuff? Well, Adam Mosseri put out a video. Do you want to roll the video so that people can hear exactly what he said, Steven? I think that would be the best.
Sure.
Roll that video that you won't see, but listen to the audio because that's all that really matters.
Let's be literal.
Let's talk about verification. Now, I post on Instagram a lot and I read the comments. And the two things I see the most often are requests to be verified and requests for customer support. And as Mark announced in his Instagram channel the other day, we're offering a new service called Meta Verified. And what this is a subscription actually to a whole set of services. And the first is verification. Now we're going to use a government ID to verify that your picture and your name match that on your Instagram or your Facebook profile with that government ID. By the way, you have to be 18 or older. And with that comes proactive impersonation monitoring on your behalf as long as you have that subscription. The second feature is increased reach in search, in comments, and in recommendation surfaces like Explore. And the third is live chat support, so that there's someone that you can talk to, a real person, when you're having a problem to get the answers that you need and quickly. Now this is our first step into the space of subscriptions. And we see this as an industry-wide movement. We've seen YouTube do so, Twitter do so, Discord, Reddit, and others. So we want to start carefully by testing this in the countries of Australia and New Zealand before we expand, hopefully quickly, to the rest of the world, including the US. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Any other features you want to see as part of Meta Verified. And if you have any other questions, please check out my link in bio for more information. See you next week.
So I got so many questions about certain things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I get the fact that you want more verification and less spoofing and customer service to get in touch with. Well, why hasn't that been there in the first place?
The impersonation protection, like you said, I do get that. But if you that should be already applied when you are
if you're verified.
A verified checkmarked user. That should be what you get. You're privileged when you get to that checkmark. You earned it. But now you have to pay for that as a feature? Why?
Well, what I don't know is, do I get a gold check mark because I'm verified, and if I pay, I don't want the same.
Yeah.
I don't want the same check mark as Steven. There's no reason Steven should have a check mark that's the same color as mine. We're not in the same. I'm an influencer.
Well, I agree, because you earned it the hard way. You actually pushed through it organically and built your audience from zero to whatever it is now. I mean, you should be grandfathered in to a certain extent. What does that mean? Do you get a gold check mark now? That means
Do
that
I have to pay?
You're an original OG blue check marked user, or what?
Right.
And do you have to pay? Yeah.
Right. So that's fine. The questionable stuff is it gives you more reach. So what? I can reach more people. I can come up and search. Only people that pay are going to get more organic reach and get their comments seen and get onto the Explore tab. That is the questionable thing. And I looked at Adam Mosseri commented back to some people who questioned that. And he's like, we're still trying to work our way through what makes sense for this, which means they know it doesn't make sense to give people more reach for spending money. Because what happens if the majority of the people spend the money and everybody gets more reach, but it's still the same?
I agree. And I like that he said he reads all of the comments and everything.
He doesn't.
But meanwhile, every single comment on this video is completely negative. Nothing is positive about this whole blue checkmark thing, yet they're still going to roll it out. And what about like those creators who are incredibly talented and creative, but they have no money? They're young and in college or even high school, or the small business that's just starting out and trying to get the word out. Like, they're never going to be seen now because it's not organic anymore. It's now pay to play to be seen. So if you're starting out, if you're not paying, why even have an Instagram account?
I got a bunch of different thoughts about this. Mm-hmm. One, Instagram is a free service and they can do whatever they want. Or it's a service that they can do whatever they want for us, right? But they need to make money as a business.
We're still paying them with content, though. You know what I mean?
It's a trade, and then they used our content to then sell ads, which they try to do. It's an interesting place. Will I pay the money? Why not? For me, it's like, well, it's a business, and if I can get more reach, it's a write-off. And if I can get more content out there, if I can advertising, like, we use our numbers to promote. So if you're getting 40,000 views on a short or more, you get 100,000, or you end up doubling it and getting more because you're getting more reach, then that's very beneficial as a business. But that does hold back the other people who have no opportunity to grow organically, like you just said, or just can't afford it. And how are they supposed to break through? There's that. The one questionable thing that I really didn't like was when he gets to the point where he says,
and we see this as an industry-wide movement. We've seen YouTube do so, Twitter do so, Discord, Reddit, and others.
So basically what he's saying is, well, we're just following in other people's footsteps. Well, Twitter did this. Reddit did it. He says YouTube did it.
What?
And I want to know, where did YouTube do this? So I left a comment down below, and I don't know what he's talking about, because as a creator, I have never paid money to be a creator. They take money from me when they get 45% of the ad revenue, but I'm not paying
to be
for a service to reach more people.
YouTube user,
not paying to do that. If he's talking about YouTube Red, that has nothing to do with the creator. That has to do with you not paying, not seeing ads.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that is, and I left a comment, and I don't know. I mean, he's probably not going to read it and reply to it, but I just that doesn't make sense. Don't say that because everybody else is doing it, it's okay for you. Say, we think this is going to be beneficial to the community. We're working our way through it. We're going to test it. We're going to see how it works. We hope that you try it out, and maybe they have a scholarship option for students. I don't know, but go ahead.
Unless YouTube rolled this out in a certain country or region that we're just not aware of, they always do the small scales first. Maybe that's the case, but we haven't seen it, at least in the US.
No, I haven't seen it. I'm going to look to see about my comment to see if he replied to it. Let's see.
And
Michael Rappaport.
While you're looking that up, we've seen that followers in general, they've gone stagnant in terms of, trying to build your followers.
What do I have?
I've been stuck at like the 8,000 mark for the longest time, and basically I'll gain some followers and then lose some followers and then gain some followers and lose, and it just stays the same over and over. But obviously I'm not a verified checkmarked user like you, but same with you. You've kind of been staying at the same spot, right? For the longest time. 260,000 for like 2 years. Yeah.
And that's because I watch Vanessa Joy grow, and she plays those reel games, making those shorts and stuff, or the reels.
Just vanity numbers, though.
I don't like those shorts at all. I mean, it gets her views and stuff, but I'm just like, I'm not playing this game. Anyway, we'll look into it. I was going to say, if YouTube came along and said, hey, creators, we have a program that we're launching, And I'm not going to tell you the price just yet, but what it's going to allow you to do is have direct contact with a creator partner, because I have a creator partner. I've gone through like 27 of them because they always fire them or they always go to do another job, and there's a lot of change and turmoil at YouTube, I think, on the back end. Susan Wojcicki, she is the former CEO. She's stepping down, if not already stepped down as the CEO and put someone else in place. It's a peaceful transition, but you don't know what the new person has in mind and what their edict is, what Google is telling them that they need to focus on. I listened to this guy, Scott Galloway, who says that they should spin YouTube off because it's the second largest search engine in the world behind Google.
Oh, yeah.
And you should have these two companies that aren't one company, and they'd be worth more money if they were separate.
I mean, I will say YouTube has never done anything this drastic, I feel like, when it comes to their members and audience. And it kind of scares me that this CEO is now leaving, and who knows what's going to happen if they're going to follow in the footsteps of Facebook and Meta and all of that. Twitter, Elon.
What I was going to get at is if I have the ability to, be in contact within minutes of someone to get help if something happens on the back end, if I get more reach, I mean, shit, that would be well worth anything.
Oh, sure.
If I don't care about the verified check mark, but more reach is the most important. But look, if YouTube was charging $1,000 a month for this, sign me up all day, any day.
But I guess what I'm saying is
$1,000 a month.
There's never really been a pay to play to get more views on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Right. But what I'm saying is if they offered a service that helped, I would absolutely be paying for it. But yeah, does that hurt the other people who can't afford it? Yeah, absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to another photography-related thing, because this is a photo podcast. Hawaii photographer. Maui hotel offering 3-month stay and $10,000 to photograph renovations.
Ooh.
You read this article?
I did.
It's the Grand Wailea Hotel in Maui is basically looking for cheap hiring people, looking to cheaply hire a photographer instead of just hiring a photographer to come out for a week and do the actual job and pay them actual money. Now, they're offering $10,000, but they want you to stay there for 3 months. What's that average out to, Stephen? How many dollars a day?
$111 a day.
Oh, you did the math?
I did.
Oh, good for you. $111 a day. Now, there's two schools of thought here. I was talking to Vanessa Joy. She wanted to come on, which is why we're bringing her on right now. No, we're not bringing her on right now.
I was like, wait,
I
what?
know Steven was like, what? How's this going to work?
I wouldn't be surprised because you don't tell me about things usually ahead of time.
She had a lot to say about this because she's like, well, I'm actually going to photograph some Hilton properties right now, and I don't know what she gets paid, but she's like, something like that would be like a $30,000 job.
Oh, yeah, easy.
To hire someone. There's two schools of thought here. I'm not actually going to apply for this. I said it in Photo News.
You would be bored after like 3 days.
Well,
there's no way you would stay for 3 months.
Well, the thing is, they give you food and beverage stipend, which I don't want beverages because I'm not going to drink, but I do eat a lot of sushi. You do get to stay there for 3 months. What the article and anything I could find on it, anything in the press release, I couldn't find it. How much work are you looking for us to do? Right? What are you doing? Like, is this 8 hours a day for 3 months? Is this, here's your tasks, get it completed, and that's all we care about for the next 3 months?
I found zero details on what is actually required for this job. Like you said, how many hours a day am I photographing? What's the deliverables at the end of the day? Is this at the end of the 3 month period that I'm giving you all of the photos? Is this at the end of each day? What kind of photos are you looking for? Like, there was really no details except the article on Petapixel and like USA Today and a couple other places had it. But I don't understand.
There was no
nothing on their social media or
I went
website.
On their
there was
website.
Nothing.
I went on their website, I went on their social media, and I didn't see shit on what they're actually looking for. So I get it. They're like, well, we can't just ask for someone to do this for nothing. We'll give them $10,000, which is all well and good. Now, I could see, I just want to know what are the tasks? What is the deliverable?
They're not saying it because really this is White Lotus season 3.
Yeah, which I refuse to watch season 2.
I will say season 2 was decent, but it still wasn't all the hype.
I was disappointed. Like, season 1 was fine. I don't call it like the greatest show in the world. Plus, I hated those characters.
I just hated how they treated people. Season 2, I think, was a little better, but I don't know. I wouldn't watch it again.
Yeah, I'm not even going to watch it. So this is one of these things like, well, for me, I don't need the $10,000, but shit, if I had 3 months to stay there and I could set up Photo News Fix from there and RAWtalk from there and
review
like, could
my
you
still work
R8,
during the day? Yeah,
review my R8 and review my R50, right? And occasionally come home or have stuff sent there. Like, I could use it and do it. The 3 months is a long amount of time.
Now, also at the end of the day, 10 grand for 3 months is not a ton of money. I mean, it's probably just enough for the most part to cover your expenses while you're gone, whether it's your mortgage or rent or just utilities, whatever else you have going on. Your 8,000 streaming services, your 7 properties and Lamborghinis.
10 grand over 3 months. There's 3.
I could get by with
6,
it, but
9, 12. So there's 4 of them. That's $40,000 a year. That's not enough money.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's rough.
It is. I mean, now, what if you were like Steven and get a hooker for $2,000? You could then subsidize you have a hotel room.
Yeah.
You could subsidize your income by, come on, I want to lay ya.
Well, again, speaking of White Lotus, that was basically season 2 that you're talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just wrote season 2 without knowing anything about it.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Spoilers. So what do you guys think about this? You could text us at 313-710-9729.
And why 3 months? Why not just a week? Why do you need to be there for that long? It just doesn't make sense. I could see even a month is overkill.
Well, 20
in my
days.
opinion.
Like, come here for 20 days. We're going to put you up.
Not
2
even
weeks.
a month.
2 weeks. Forget it. We're going to put you up for 2 weeks. We're going to give you 10 grand and you get to get all the food, all the beverages you need and get to participate and you get to take these photos. Like, so what are they going to do? Hire somebody because they're young and they're like, and still not get the best quality? Not saying that young people don't do great quality, but there's a reason you hire the Mike Kellys to come photograph your property.
Correct.
And pay him a good amount of money because he's so fucking anal with everything that he's going to do such a fantastic job. And that's what Mike Kelly does. But you're going to pay him $10,000 a day. I don't know what he actually gets paid, but it's probably up there at like $10,000
it's probably up
a
there.
day.
Yeah. But if you want quality, you got to pay for it.
That is true.
That's what I tell you all the time, Jared. You got to pay me more.
Is that why you pay $2,000 instead of $3,000 for a hooker?
That's why I need my 12%.
12.5%. Stop getting it wrong,
12.5%? Yes.
It's always been 12.5%, and it just keeps going down.
You mean it's always been 0?
It's always still been 0. It's always, why don't you work for 3 months and I'll give you $10,000?
Hold on, let me beg people to pay me on Venmo real quick.
Oh, are you going to do that?
No, I'm not going to do that.
I used to get Venmo. I think Venmo started blocking the money coming in that people were trying to send me.
Oh, that's funny.
Because it still comes in. Anyway, speaking of big news, we got some Nikon big news coming up right now.
Yes.
Sigma has officially announced Z-Lens support, and their press release was not very forthcoming with the information because I went ahead and recorded Photo News Fix. I wrote a story talking about the lenses. They came out with a 16-1.4, a 30-1.4, and a 56-1.4, and nowhere in the original press release does it say anything about it being crop sensor lenses. And now it says they were available on the Fuji X mount and Micro Four Thirds.
If you read between the lines, you can kind of tell.
But it also said Sony E mount and it said EOS M. But
M is cropped.
Specifically say, we're proud to announce that our first 3 lenses are coming to the crop sensor APS-C sensor cameras for Nikon.
Yeah.
The Z30, the Z50, the ZFC, and whatever else is to come. They didn't do that. So I emailed them and I was like, guys, it doesn't say APS-C lenses.
Because it'll make a bigger splash if they leave that out.
Well, yeah, so it's kind of hiding. And I said in the RAWtalk, or Photo News Fix for next week, which isn't out yet, but it says that what I say, it's like it was like Where's Waldo, except for the fact that Waldo wasn't exactly on the page.
Yep.
So because you would never find it, I would never find it. So they replied back and they're like, well, DC means crop sensor and DG means this and DN means digital native. And I'm like, how am I supposed to know that if there's no glossary that says that this is what this means? Why isn't it when you list it as DC or whatever it is, you don't write this stands for X? You do it once.
It should be listed on the actual press release, the abbreviations and their meanings, instead of if you go deep on their websites, like Tamron, Sigma, all the third-party lenses, you can find a general glossary and index of what these abbreviations mean, but you got to dig deep to find it. And they list every single, technical term, so it's very hard to find the meanings of the lenses themselves on the lens barrel and all that.
And that's why the press release should have said Z mount crop sensor cameras.
And
now,
for people like us that cover all of the brands for the most part, it gets very confusing and hard to keep up with these, all the abbreviations, because again, we deal with all the companies and they have a million different things that they consider their lens, like DC, DN, DG, VI, VC, IS, RF, Z, everything, S. It's hard to keep up.
It's a pain in the ass. So I was a little upset that I filmed a news story, thinking that they were full frame. And sure, like if I went, they didn't have pricing, they didn't have it listed anywhere, and we know that I guess those lenses. I thought they were making cool lenses, 31.4, 16.1.4, and whatever. Now let's talk about the lenses themselves. First off, this is good. That third party like this, we already have Tamron full frame. That's the other thing, is we already have Tamron full frame on Nikon. So why would I have just assumed that these are crop sensors for Nikon? My thing is, now Sigma will probably make full frame at some point, but was it Nikon who says to them that you must make these lenses for the crop sensor first before we give you permission to make lenses for the full frame? Because if you want to look at this, I'm not going to suggest someone buys a 16.1.4. I'm not going to suggest that someone buys a 30.1.4. If you're a crop sensor shooter, the reason I say this is I don't think that you start and finish your photography career as a crop sensor shooter. If you're looking to, in this day and age, back in the old days,
when full frame is fairly affordable is what you're saying, right?
Well, I'm saying that if you are serious about photography, I don't want you dumping a shit ton of money into lenses that you can't grow with in the future.
Well, I'd rather buy a Z5, for example, over a Z30, when the Z5 these days is going for what, $1,300?
I have no idea. I haven't looked up a Z5 in a long time.
It's not the most expensive full frame camera. It's pretty cheap, or affordable, I should say.
So I just look at it as I don't recommend people buy. I love primes,
sure,
but then the people who are not looking to grow as photographers and just want to take general pictures are the same people who are not going to spend the money on a 30.1.4, a 16.1.4, because they don't see the value in a lens that doesn't zoom.
Well, and speaking of money too, are these lenses going to be $200 more than the E-mount version, for example, because they're paying Nikon the licensing fee? Because we saw that with the Tamron versions, like was it the 70-180 they have or whatever?
Well, that's not out yet. The 70-180 isn't out, but the other ones are. They
announced that one though, right? But it's just not out yet.
They haven't announced it. I think it's on the roadmap.
That's it. It's the 70-180 that we assume is going to be the Tamron version.
Yeah.
But the one that's currently out is like $200 more than the E-mount version, because I assume it's the licensing fee that Nikon is paying, or they're paying Nikon.
They're doing something.
So will it be the same? Are you looking at a $700 lens versus $500 for a crop sensor body when the body alone costs $600? I don't know if you're going to get a lot.
That's my whole thing. I just I don't suggest people invest a lot of money into crop sensor cameras.
Yeah.
I just feel that if you are serious about photography and wanting to grow, which I feel a lot of people are, that you don't dump money into a system that you can't grow with, that you can't take your lenses with you to the next lineup. This also begs the question is, what's Canon going to do when it comes to Sigma and Tamron? Are they going to finally come around to it? And at what point are they? Because when Nikon has Tamron and Sigma lenses, as well as their own native lenses that are autofocus, it's leaving Canon out in the dry.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully it'll wake Canon up.
I don't know what they're going to do. I do have a direct line to Canon, but they have no idea what's going on when I ask them. I'm like, they know what's going on, but they don't know anything about these third-party lenses and what's going to happen at that point. I hope it happens.
Oh, I do. 100%. Yeah. And back to the naming of the lenses, with all the abbreviations and everything, you got things like Sony and Nikon where they can call something just simply a Sony FE50-14 GM lens, where it's a full frame from FE, and GM meaning it's a G master, so it pretty much has everything built in. Or the Nikon 85 1.2 S Z lens, it's for the Z mount full frame, and it's an S lens for their superior lineup. It's very simple to keep up with those lenses, but when you talk about the third-party manufacturers like Sigma and Tamron, where, for example, Tamron has their 17-70 2.8 DI3-A VC RXD lens for Sony E-mount. That becomes very confusing on what the hell do all those extra letters mean. And it comes down to, it means DI3A is for APS-C, VC is for vibration compensation, and then RXD is for the motor inside it, and then for Sony E is for Sony E-mount. So it's always the third-party manufacturers that make it very confusing because they're building lenses for every single different brand.
I'm confused, Steven.
Exactly. And again, you can dig deep on the website to find what these, the abbreviations mean, but it's not simple to find. I tried doing a quick Google search and it wasn't the first few things that came up. I had to really dig deep to find it.
Yeah, it upset me a little bit, so we'll see what happens. It's good news for Nikon shooters, but it's really not the good news you've been fully hoping for from Sigma.
Well, at least it's a start.
Yeah, it's definitely a start. That's why I didn't go super harsh in the RAWtalk. The Photo News Fix, because there was nothing to go harsh about. I used the RAWtalk to be able to talk more in depth about this, and that's why we listened.
And the same thing happened basically when Sigma started with the E-mount lenses. They basically slapped an MC11 adapter on their DSLR versions of lenses, of their art lenses, and called it a day and said it worked. It was a built-in, adapter for the most part.
It was terrible.
And it was built for the E-mount, but really the focusing system was meant for the DSLR system, not for E-mount, and it wasn't the best. It was good enough, but again, it was a start, and now you have the DGDN lenses specifically designed for E-mount. So hopefully they'll go and get them done for Z-mount, and you'll have some great third-party options for Nikon fans. And that's great for Nikon, and hopefully, again, it wakes up Canon.
Yep. One more story here this week. Let's talk about, last week I talked about my friend using a software to edit her images, and some people were asking, what was that called? And this is not a plug. We're not affiliated with them at all. I haven't tried it out personally. I'm just going off of a friend who shoots weddings. She says it's called Imagine-AI. So it's IMAGEN-AI.com. And I went to their site and I wasn't too happy on the information that I found for how it actually works. I found a lot of information on this photographer uses it and loves it, and this photographer uses it and loves it. I didn't find here's a quick video on how this works. You upload your files and then this happens, right? So I couldn't figure that out. But my friend says she uploaded anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 images, right? So basically what happens is you upload your edited images. They could be RAW files. They could be the JPEGs.
Gotcha.
So you upload a ton of different images that are edited with your style. Then what happens is it processes, or it thinks and does what she said. It took 12 hours to do it the first time. And then what it does is create a custom profile based off of your edits for you. So in essence, it's creating a preset based off of your style for you. And then what happens is it connects to your Lightroom. And so
really?
when you want to upload, say, you want to edit 1,000 pictures from a wedding, you would go connect through the Lightroom, tell it you want these 1,000 images. It's going to upload those RAW files, and then it's going to send back an XMP automatically back in, is at least what she says. This is what I gathered. I couldn't find it on their website. I couldn't find it on their shitty YouTube videos with 11 views on each video because it was just too much bullshit. Like, I want to know how it works in one simple 2-minute video. But
I'm just quickly scrolling through their website, and there's not a ton of information on there. I do see when it comes to pricing, it says you have to charge. They charge extra for cropping and straightening, which I'm sure you wouldn't check off anyway.
I would never check that off anyway. My friend says it doesn't work that well with the
adds
cropping.
An extra $5 for each option. If you had, say, 500 photos, it would cost you $35 for that specific photo shoot if you added the cropping and straightening feature. Or if you didn't have that, it would be $25 flat fee for the entire $500 edited, or 500 pictures edited.
Oh, I thought it was like 5 cents an image.
Yeah, 5 cents an image. So for 500 photos, it would be $25.
Which is nothing.
That's not bad.
If 500 images takes you 2 hours to edit, that saves you time. So the point is, you're not going to upload every image. You're going to go through, you're going to cull your best of the best, and then you're going to connect it to this service. You're going to let it upload them, and it's going to. And they talk about their privacy. They're not using your images. Whatever. You either trust it or you don't.
Sure.
And then. Whatever. I don't give a shit at that point. But especially when it comes to weddings and stuff. So my friend says, she did a shoot the other day. Didn't really want to edit it because it's a lot of the reception stuff. Put it through the software, and within 20 minutes, she had a gallery back to the customer. And
were they solid edits?
She said, for the most part, yes, it was really good.
Huh.
But I don't know if it's just slapping a preset on everything that it created. Is it changing exposure? Like, does it know that if
it's clipped or
right? Does it know that it's underexposed by 2 stops that somehow it brings it back versus just throwing a filter on it? We would really need to run an undercover test on this, Stephen, with a bunch of different images to see what it does.
And there's certain photos that I might want to bring the sky back in post, so I underexpose or something like that. But I know in post I'm going to bring that back and clean it up a little bit. Will that know to do that? You know what I mean?
Don't know what it knows to do, but you also can override their edits, of course, because they're XMPs. You can go back in and tweak your RAW files after the fact.
So they are giving you just simple XMP files that you can then tweak it. That's great, actually.
That's what she said. I couldn't find any information on their website to do that because I'm like, do I upload my RAW files? And all it talked about was it may take longer to upload files depending on what you upload, but either way, it doesn't matter. If it saves you hours upon hours of editing, it might be a good option, which always brings up this debate of, is this AI good or not? And in this sense, if I was shooting weddings and you shoot at this point 3, 4, 5,000 photos in a wedding day, but you go ahead and you upload it and it spits them all out done, good enough is probably good enough for that. I'd still go in and tweak shit. Like, that's me. I want to have control. But if you can utilize the technology to save you time, that makes you more efficient. There's going to be people that are saying, but you're taking away jobs from the editors. Well, India already did that back in the day when people would upload their images to India, and then they were the AI, literally just people sitting behind computers at computer farms editing your images. This is something that you could utilize. I'm not saying this one in particular. I'm just saying in general, you utilize the AI to make you better, to save you time, which makes you more money, which makes you happier because you know how long editing can take for shitty photos that you don't like. It's different when you're editing shit that you really like.
Now, there is a press kit I found on their website buried deep. And
how deep, Stephen? As deep as that $2,000 hooker lets you go?
It says, Imagine is an AI-powered photo editing solution that works on Adobe Lightroom Classic, the desktop app. The proprietary AI learns and analyzes from previous edits to create a personalized editing AI profile, which in turn applies the edit across Lightroom catalogs at a fraction of the time, clearing photographers' time.
Right, but I want to know how it works.
But there's still not really are you using RAW photos, JPEGs?
I get the premise. I want to know the
tech specs. Yeah.
I want to know physically what is happening here. I get that you connect it. Okay, how does it work?
Yeah.
And I'm not looking for anything major here. I'm saying, okay, so here's how it works. If you have RAW files and you put them in your Lightroom, it's going to upload them. And our system is going to go ahead and utilize all that data to edit and then send you back an XMP.
And I know they're trying to probably keep it basic and not confusing, but you're dealing with professional photographers here that are most likely shooting RAW photos, dealing with a complex program like Lightroom Classic. You know what I mean? They're editing. You should be able to explain it a little more than just that.
Right. So I don't know. I asked my ad guy to reach out to them to see if they've got any ad money because first things first, I'd like to know if they want to pay some money. But second, I need to try it out
on next week's RAWtalk.
I need to try it out first myself, I don't like always asking for a free trial, but sometimes when I do ask for them, you go through and you're like, wow, this really sucks, right?
Well, yeah, it's always hit or miss, yeah.
And then I'm not going to work with that company because I'm like,
it might be amazing.
It might be. I don't know. I can't fully say how I would use it. Because it just sounds like it creates a profile, which is a preset based on your style.
Very interesting that it gives you the XMP files.
At least what my friend told me. Again, I can't verify that because I can't find it on their site. Mm-hmm. But they do have other photographers' profiles there that you could use. So if you like this other person's style, you can basically click and have your images edited in their style.
The love and light profile, the natural feels, the clean and crisp, the cinematic luxury. It sounds like our light and airy preset, Jared, which is Mount Airy.
Ours presets are still better than these. Still less expensive. Whatever.
Warm skin tones, timeless color, body language.
These are stupid.
Simply
so
sublime. See, Jared, these are all great preset names, unlike Prestige Worldwide.
Dude, Prestige I come up with the best names ever, Steven, and you know it. You know it.
Moving on.
No, there's nowhere to move. We're at the end of the show, Steven.
Wrap it up.
You want me to wrap it up? I hope you did for that $2,000. Hey guys, let us know what you think. 313-710-9729. Do you use this Imagine software? Have you tried it? Do you know how it works? Send us a message. Whatever else you think, send us a message. Steven's been replying to some of them. I reply to some of them. We read them.
And again, if you guys are writing a novel, it's very hard to reply to those. So please try and keep them short. And we do apologize if we can't get to them all, but it is what it is.
No, we don't apologize, Steven. We don't say sorry. We don't say sorry.
Okay,
if you write,
you don't say sorry, but
if
I
you
will.
write a fucking novel and if you send us emails and Instagrams and say that you've been trying to get in touch with me for a while about something that you should be able to find yourself, and you think that you deserve or demand a reply, you're not getting a reply. You're just never getting a reply if you're demanding me answer your email. Not happening.
Well, my favorite is when people think that they're your best friend and they expect a reply and communication nonstop, and it's like, who are you? I don't know you.
I don't owe you anything. And just make it easy for me. There's people that make it really easy to reply to because they ask a question. It takes
straight
one
to
sentence.
the point. Yep.
And you're like, yeah, don't beat around the bush. I don't want to. Beating around the bush is the worst thing.
If this was a paid service, that's a different story. You can write a novel all day. You're paying for it, but you're not. So when we get
Correct.
time, we try and answer. I'll take a couple minutes each morning to look at the text line, but there's plenty of days where I don't have any time to look at it. So
all right, guys, this is episode number 39. We appreciate you listening. Go on Photo News Fix. I like when I see your comments on Photo News Fix telling people why they should listen to Photo News Fix. I like those comments down below.
Listen to RAWtalk, not Photo News Fix.
Yeah, I can't get it right,
You
Steven.
keep switching it. You call Photo News Fix RAWtalk, and you call RAWtalk Fix.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And just like I call the R6 Mark II, the
6D Mark II.
6D Mark II.
Yep.
All right, I got to wrap it up, Steven. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys for listening. Jared Polin, FronosPhoto.com. See ya.
Peace.